All right, welcome everybody. Webinars are always a little bit tough. The people I'm looking at are the people that you see, which is great. These are great people, but the people I really wish I were seeing were you, the students. This is for you. We have a lot to talk about, lot to share. Before we get started, this is not just me, as you know, and I want to make sure everybody know who's on here and give them a chance to introduce themselves. So you see everybody that's putting this together. We'll start alphabetically with assistant principals who serve students with beginning of the alphabet, and that's Mr. Higgins.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our little webinar. I'm looking really forward to seeing you guys here. I work primarily with students whose last names begin with the letters A through F. So if your last name begins with the letters A through F, be sure and come up to me and introduce yourself. And I'll be happy to spend a few minutes with you. And I look forward to seeing you.
Hi everyone, I'm Holly Applegate and I serve students with the last names G through N. Glad you're here.
Lance Peters, really look forward to seeing you. I work with students in the alphabet, last name alphabet O through Z.
Mrs. Elliott, I'm a math teacher here, but I'm also doing my admin internship, so I get to participate with all of your administrators.
Thanks, everybody. Ms. Winkler is also on here, our Career Center Specialist. She's the one that makes the webinars possible and gets us all set up. And Mr. Kale, as many of you know, our master of technology behind the scenes, making this look great, sound great. He is also recording this. So at the end, when it's edited and ready for public view, this will be posted on the GP website. So you can go back and review, re-listen to some of the things we talked about. We're excited. The word I use is excited. We're excited about the opportunity, and it's the opportunity for you to have a choice. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of questions. And I'm going to use this word, excited that you have the opportunity to choose to come back to campus if that is what works for you under these conditions, but also the choice to stay home and continue this remotely if that's what's best for you as well. So that opportunity to have the choice, we're really excited about. We're really happy that we've exceeded the numbers that the Department of Health has given us in terms of recommending students at the high school level return to campus for in-person learning. We're well below the recommended cases per 100,000. We're well below the positivity rate and hospitals. So that's all really good news. Things are going in the right direction. We're also very proud of our safety plan. So please you're going to hear a lot of excitement in our voice. And that's true. You know how much we love to be here with our students and love GP, but don't mistake that for being nonchalant about the safety. Because we don't have Glacier Peak, we don't have a school, we don't have a family if we don't have the students. So we're not going to do anything that puts anybody in jeopardy in any way, shape, or form to the best of our knowledge and ability. So while there is enthusiasm and there's excitement, the priority always is, always has been, and always will be the safety and well-being of our students and staff. So that being said, we're proud of our safety plan, and we're going to talk through that, and I'll also give you the link so that you can go and look through and read through that safety plan to see how seriously we're taking every aspect of this. Last bit of information is questions. There's going to be a lot of questions, and we're encouraging you to give us a chance to go through a couple PowerPoint slides. I have some talking points that are going to touch on the things that we anticipate you having the most questions about. That'll take maybe a half hour or so. I'm not sure the time, but then the rest of the time is for a Q&A. So if you could please just be patient with the questions, and at the end of this slideshow presentation, all of us are on here to take questions, and that's what this is for. It's to make sure you're getting answers to your questions and concerns. We're doing this again tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for our community, for our families. Same format. It's going to be very similar slides, but very much a Q&A, because we don't want there are no secrets. We want complete transparency and honesty, because we need students and families to know what's going on, what's school going to look like, what are we doing about this concern and that concern, what is the school day going to look like, well, how many periods a day, and what does the lunchroom look like? You have a right, you need to know all of those things. You're also going to be asked to make a choice to, are you returning to in-person or are you going to stay remote? And it would be really hard and unfair for you to answer that if you didn't know exactly what you were walking into. So we want to make sure you have a real good picture and idea of what it looks like right now at Glacier Peak. In addition to tomorrow night, we are working with a group of folks producing a video so that we can show you exactly what this all looks like. If you want an idea of what it'll look like, you can search the Spokane Public Schools website. They have created a welcome back video for their community. We're not copying theirs, but it'll give you an idea of what we're doing, because you're going to hear in words description of what we're doing and how we're doing it. But it's really important that we show you what that looks like. So we're recording that Thursday and Friday to be released on Monday. And we'll post that to our website as well. But you'll get to see exactly what it looks like to arrive at school, how you check into school, how we know that you've completed the attestation and the COVID screening. What do the hallways look like? What do the classrooms look like? What does lunch look like? So you're going to hear it, but then also get to see what that looks like. So a number of things coming up down the road. Don't need to remember all this. There's no quiz on this, but in a couple of weeks, we're going to have another student webinar so you can continue to ask questions. We're going to have another town hall meeting with our community because it's, again, no secrets here. We want to be completely transparent so that you know exactly what's going on. Our goal is day one when we are here, for those that choose that, everybody is very confident and feels really good about the process and knows what we're doing and how we're doing it. So that's the plan. I'll quit rambling there. I'm going to share my screen again and go back to the slides. So some important dates, and I encourage you to use your phone and take pictures of these, however you want to write them down. Again, this is recorded, so you can go back and look at these. But here's some things we want you to be aware of and start planning. Teachers will begin coming back to campus in a couple of weeks, beginning March 22nd. That week of the 22nd or the 26th, we still have classes. The bell schedule will be the same as it is now, 3 periods a day from 9:30 to 12:30. However, the afternoon of that week, there will be no office hours and no small group time. That's because teachers will be making the transition back to the classroom to make sure they have their teaching area set up for you for that next Monday, March 29th. So something to be aware of the plan on that week. All office hours and small groups will be canceled. Monday, March 22nd, we wanted, think back to Link Crew and for freshmen, you know, how we open school normally, acclimating students, welcoming students to GP, giving them a chance to see the school and where their classes are. While we can't do normal Link Crew activities, we still believe it's very important to give people a chance to set foot on campus, to get an idea of where things are and where classes are. So on March 22nd, for all freshmen and students new to Glacier Peak, there will be later today on our website a sign-up genius. It is from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, where students can sign up with up to 2 parents, 2 adults. So no more than 3 total in that group, where you can arrive at your assigned time through Sign Up Genius for a self-guided tour of the campus. What that'll look like is when you arrive at the main door, at the main office in the front of the school, with your schedule, you'll receive, we'll have them available on the website, but also a hard copy of the map, a map of the school. And that map will take you on a very direct route through the school, where you'll see all 3 floors in the main building, through the cafeteria and gym area, past the art rooms, out towards the portables on the north end of the campus, back up through the courtyard, and then in where through the PAC area and the band and choir classrooms are, so that you can see where things are, but also have an idea of where your classes are. There will also be folks, administrators and other people throughout the building at checkpoints. So as you're walking the hall, we'll be able to check in with you, ask you if you have any questions, if you need any help and support. But those will be self-guided, again, just student and up to 2 parents. The way it's scheduling is we're having no more than 10 students every 15 minutes. So right away you can hear how seriously we're taking the social distancing. We will ask you to wear masks on the self-guided tour. Every precaution that we'll have in school applies to the self-guided tour as well. We're fortunate enough to have the opportunity to be back on campus. We're going to do everything possible to keep that privilege. We don't want to make a mistake and endanger people and then not have the opportunity to be here. So everything we do will be very organized, very thorough, and taken very seriously. You may be having the question, well, but I would like to do that anyway. I'm not sure where some of my classes are. We're not going to say no if you would like to come to the building. What we will do is if those spots fill on Monday, the 22nd from 4 to 7, if they fill, and I'm looking at Mr. Peters and Ms. Applegate, Mr. Everybody, we're just going to offer more time. It could be the next night. We're just going to offer more time. We're not going to tell you no. If you want to come see the building, right on. We're going to make sure that happens. So it says 9th grade and students new to GP, but we're not going to say no. So that's the tour coming up. I'll bet you have a lot of questions around this bell schedule. What in the world is the bell schedule going to be beginning March 29th? The reason we don't have a picture of it is today we're finalizing the details on a few things, but here's what I can tell you. Whether you're in person or you choose to stay remote, the bell schedule is the same for everybody. The day is actually 5 minutes longer than normal. So if you recall, last year or pre-COVID, school dismissed at 12:12. We actually begin at our original start time. First period will begin at 7:30. I can hear the emotions right now from students going, oh boy, is that 7:30 a.m.? Maybe it's been a while, but it is 7:30 a.m. And school's going to go to 2:17. And I'll explain the reason for that in just a minute, but it is a full day. So let me be really clear. If you're in person, it's a full day, 7:36 periods to 2:17. If you choose to stay remote, it's also 7:30 to 2:17. You might be going, wait a minute, I need to do all my classes on Zoom? Correct. If you choose to go remote, it is all 6 periods on Zoom. But it's not every day. And hopefully this makes sense here. Our student body will be divided by cohorts. Last name, if your last name begins with letters A through K, you will be, and this again, if you choose to be in person. Even if you choose to go remote, you're still assigned a cohort. So everybody's last name who begins with A through K, you are in cohort A. That means your classes meet every Monday and Wednesday. Whether you're in person or remote, you go to your classes every Monday and Wednesday, last name A through K. If your last name is L through Z, begins with the letters L through Z, whether you're in person or remote, your classes meet every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm hoping that makes sense. In person, you physically go to your 6 classes. If you're remote, you'll be Zooming into each of those 6 classes, Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday, Thursday. Those classes will be right around 55 minutes each. Each day, we're going to continue with office hours. If you're in person, those office hours, I'm hesitant to say it looks like Grizzly period because our normal Grizzly period, you're able to go visit other classrooms. The big difference here is when we have office hours, and that will either be attached to 2nd period or 5th period, most likely. If you're in person, let's just hypothetically say that those office hours are attached to 2nd period. So we'll have our 55-minute class, and then at the end of the class, we immediately begin the 25 minutes of office hours. you could think of it as grizzly period. When that begins, if you're in the classroom, you stay in the classroom and you can, with your laptop, zoom in to any teacher that you need to visit with. So it's grizzly period in that you can meet with a teacher, but it's different in that you're meeting with them remotely because you're not leaving the classroom, walking the halls, going to another classroom. If you're remote, you obviously stay remote and you can zoom in to any teacher that you need to for office hours, very similar to how they are now. Before I get to lunch, let me back up just a minute and I'm gonna ask the others if there's things to add. You might be asking, okay, I'm in cohort A, so I meet Monday and Wednesday. What do I do Tuesday, Thursday? You're going to hear these words a lot. You've been hearing them all year long, synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is when class is live, we are in class. So if I'm cohort A, I'm synchronous learning. I'm in my class Monday and Wednesday, and I'm asynchronous. I'm not joining my class live Tuesday or joining my class at all Tuesday, Thursday. So on that asynchronous or non-cohort day, it's not a do nothing. The expectations will be that whatever your teacher is asking you to do through asynchronous learning, that's on your own. While that won't be new learning, it's not, okay, you have to read this chapter and figure this out on your own. It very well may be a review of what you've covered that week or what you're currently working on that week, and you access that work through Canvas. So Canvas is not going away. We're still very much active with Canvas. So again, let me go to cohort A. I go to class on Monday, all 6 classes on Monday. On Tuesday, whether I'm in person or remote, whatever model I choose, Tuesday, I do not attend class in person or Zoom. I do not attend class. However, I need to go to Canvas because my teacher will post any work that I'm supposed to be working on Canvas. So it's up to me to go access that. It's asynchronous learning on Tuesday. Wednesday, I go back to my live classes. Thursday, I'm back to asynchronous. I grab or I access whatever I need through Canvas. On Friday, everybody is remote, regardless of what you chose. And they're all 6 periods, but they're 20-minute classes, very short. So on Fridays, regardless if you chose to be in person or remote, everybody is remote, very similar to what we're doing now on Fridays. All 6 periods, however, it would only be 20-minute class periods. That's a lot of information to process. I'm looking at our admin team. Anybody to add, clarify? I'll pause for a minute and let anybody make a comment that need be.
A lot of students are asking about if they choose remote or if they choose to be in person, are they able to go back and choose differently? So
Yeah,
a lot of questions about that, so we might want to address that now.
You bet. That's a great question and a question I would be asking. It's not a simple answer. And so I believe you're going to be asked, the district is going to send out a survey asking what your intentions are to return in person or to stay remote. Take that survey very, very seriously because respond to that survey for what you want in the long term. If you want to come back, but maybe it's not for a week or so, then choose return in person because that's what you're going to be held accountable for. If you say remote, but then a little bit later want to change, that might not happen. There's a process. If you chose remote, you're going to be asked to stay remote. You can request the change. However, that change will only be possible if there's space available. Because remember, safety is the priority here, and we can only have so many people in a class. And we're going to show you pictures of that in the video, and we'll walk through a little bit more of that in our safety plan. But it's very limited, so we can't just allow people to come if they decide to change their mind. Now, what if you decide to go in person but want to change to remote? That is okay. And you might have to go remote for reasons outside of your control. You might not be feeling good. It has nothing to do with COVID. Maybe you're just not feeling well. Well, you shouldn't come to school if you're not feeling well. So of course you can access your classes remotely. You may have a family obligation. There might be something happening where previously when you would miss class, now you don't have to miss class. You can simply remote in. So if you're in person, you're in person, but you always have the ability to stay home and remote in. However, if you choose remote, please hear this, you're not guaranteed permission to change your mind and all of a sudden be able to come in person. So take that choice very seriously. The other question that you're probably wondering, can I change cohort? My last name is A through K, but I really prefer L through Z. Again, that's a process. There are exceptions. There's many blended families that have two different last names. Those families can work together, but choose one cohort. So let's say I'm in the same household as Mr. Pete. That won't work because we're in the same one with Miss Applegate. We're in the same household. Then it's up to our family to choose, we're both going to go A or we're both going to go B. But I hope that makes sense. A blended family does not have to go on two different cohorts. That family can choose to go on the same day because we want to keep consistency within the family. There's younger siblings, and based on where your younger sibling is, we want to line up with that particular cohort because this year's been hard enough on you and families and everything that comes with that. So anywhere we can help accommodate families for consistency, we'll make that exception. There may be some exceptions around things like snow aisle or part-time running start, particularly snow aisle. If your group, lab group meets on certain days, then we're going to try really hard to make sure that you're in the cohort that allows you to still attend all of your snow aisle classes. So long story short, you can change cohort, but there is a process. It's not guaranteed to happen, but under specific circumstances and conditions, we will make that exception. Again, this is really important, provided there's space available, because we just can't overload classrooms. We can't exceed the capacity. And the capacity of a classroom is a student desk every 6 feet. What that translates to in almost every classroom is about 16 or 17 desks per classroom. And we just can't fit more of that in there because then we wouldn't be following our safety plan or the guidelines. And those guidelines say that students in a classroom must be 6 feet apart with masks. So I hope that starts to answer. It's a lot to process, a lot to think about, but hopefully that gets that thought process started on what we can and can't do. We always want it black and white, but the truth is we live in a world that's gray. And there are exceptions to rules. Sometimes there's common sense, but generally speaking, you can see where it lines up by last name and cohort. And what you choose in that survey, for the most part, is the choice you're making for the rest of the year. So I hope that helps. I'll stop there. Is there any other questions you guys are seeing pop up around the daily schedule?
Lots of questions about lunch and what lunch is going to look like. So I don't know if you plan on talking about that now, but I think you have it later on.
Yeah, we do have it later on. Let's talk a little bit about it now. Obviously, we'll have lunch, but we will not have lunch tables. So if you go to our safety plan, you'll see pictures of the cafeteria, or if you've been to our internet cafe, what you'll find is when you go to lunch, there are chairs every 7 feet. So we went a little bit more than 6 feet. They're every 7 feet. And students will be sitting in a chair for lunch. We have a capacity issue there. We can fit about 200 chairs in our cafeteria. This decision hasn't been made because, to be really transparent and honest, we need to know how many students are choosing to come in person and how many are choosing to stay remote. That'll determine if we need to add a third lunch to the schedule. I don't want students to worry about that, but just know we're doing the math to make sure that we keep our capacity appropriate in the cafeteria. When you go to lunch, you'll go to a seat. The question is that seat assigned? Let me be clear, this is tricky. Yes, it's assigned after you pick it. I hope that makes sense. So when you come in, you're going to be allowed to sit the first time in the chair that you want. Be intentional about what you're picking because that's going to be your assigned seat moving forward. How long? We're not sure. It could be the rest of the year, but maybe not. Maybe it could only be a month. We will change our guidelines as the Department of Health changes their guidelines. We're fluid, we're flexible. If things were to, conditions allowed us to do more, then obviously we're going to move with that. What guides us is not what I want as the principal or the superintendent wants or what anybody wants. We're following the guidelines of the Department of Health. And as they change their guidelines, we'll change ours. But right now you would go into the cafeteria that first time and choose a seat, and you could be around your friends and people you know, but that will be your assigned seat where you're at every day. The reason for that is we want to be able to track where people are and who they were around. So in the event we need to identify anything, we can do that. We really need to know who's on campus and where they are all the time. Again, you're hearing this theme, safety is critical. Now, also hear my voice, while safety is of the utmost importance, we also want this to be a really positive environment and experience. We're excited to see you. I can't tell you, I'll probably get pretty watery-eyed when you guys get to class. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. And so we want to see you. We want to talk to you. We want you to talk to each other. But we can do all that while maintaining our safety guidelines. So you're hearing a lot of these rules and it's really tight. It is, but that doesn't mean, Mr. Peters had a great, I think he said it very well. He said, we're not taking the emotion. Do you remember what you said this morning, Mr. Peters, in our safety meeting? While we're physically apart, we're not emotionally apart.
Well, even just imagine you're only 6 feet away from somebody. I mean, that's where I would normally sit with somebody in my office, 6 feet away. So it really is still really easy to have great conversation and still be emotionally together, even though there's 6 feet away from me.
Right on. So also when you're at your lunch seat, you can turn your chair. You don't have to be all facing one direction. You can turn that so that you can be seeing and speaking with the people around you. If you choose to receive a school lunch, every student in the state of Washington, K-12, is eligible to receive a sack lunch. So there is in the cafeteria there, we remember the old way of lining up and going through the salad bar or the sandwich bar or the entree, and we have a great cafeteria, but that's not what lunch is right now. If you choose to take a school lunch, you'll come from the first floor hallway up the ramp right in front of the cafeteria where vision where you used to go in to get your food, but that line will never stop moving. It's always moving because you'll just continue to the front of the cafeteria and receive that sack lunch. They're all the same. I believe there are some gluten-free options and there are some things like that. But then you'll grab that lunch on the move and go directly to your seat. So we're not lining up in long lines or violating the 6-foot distancing. That line is on the move. But that lunch is available for anybody and everybody that wants it. There might be a question, can I sit outside? Yes, you can sit outside, but initially that will be your assigned seat. So think carefully through that. That means rain or shine, under the covered area, that is your seat at lunch. As the weather gets nicer, we will, and we have to be careful how we do this, but we do want to expand again to that north end out of the cafeteria in that grassy area. Not, as you know, you can't go over the bank and be out of the view from us, but we would allow more people to sit out in the grass, socially distanced, under direct supervision. So again, I know this sounds mechanical. I hope it's not sounding like we're trying to micromanage every move. We're going to manage the safety, but we also want you to be outside in the sunshine in safe conditions. So we're trying to get the best of both worlds. So assigned seats outside, yes, as weather permits and more people can be outside. If you choose that assigned seat inside, but request to be outside on certain days, we're going to do our best to allow as many people as possible to do that, because outside is better anyway when the weather's nice. So the other thing around lunch is oftentimes lunch is great because remember pre-COVID, you finish your lunch and you walk around with your friends, you maybe go up to the library, you just move. while we're returning to in-person learning, we're returning to school, it's very different. So once we're in the cafeteria for lunch, you're in the cafeteria for lunch. We can't let you walk the halls or access the library at that time. It's pretty tight. We need to be in the cafeteria. Can you use the bathroom? Of course you can. But will you be able to walk down the hallways and go visit a teacher in their classroom? Unfortunately, at this time, no. So I just want to be really clear and be really honest. Know what you're getting into if you choose to come back. Will that stay that way all the way through the middle of June? We don't know. Again, as the Department of Health guidelines change, we will change, but what will remain constant is us following the guidelines. So lunch does look a little bit different. We'll keep going here because I know there'll be more questions on lunch coming up. We talked about Friday. So just to review, if you choose to come in person, that's Monday, it's coming up quick, March 29th, 9th grade and 12th grade would return in person. 9th and 12th grade, that's cohort A. If your last name is L through Z, your first day on campus would be Tuesday the 30th. On Monday after spring break, Monday, March 12th, that's 10th and 11th graders joining the freshmen and seniors. So beginning April 12th, cohort A, that's all students cohort A, 9 through 12, begin in person. And then the 13th, 10th and 11th sophomores and juniors join the freshmen and seniors in person. So a couple questions that are probably coming up. What if I'm a senior or an underclassman cohort A and the seniors are in class, but there's freshmen, sophomores, and or juniors in that class? What do? They will Zoom in. So we can do both. You could maybe use the word live stream even. So those students that chose and are able to return, so Monday the 29th, let's take a math class, let's take pre-calc. Seniors that choose to be in person will be in person. But sophomores and juniors that chose to be in person, they're not in person yet. They still attend that class, but they're joining through Zoom, and I want to say as you are now, but with the new schedule. So I hope that makes sense. If you're allowed to be in person and you chose that, you're in person. If you're not, your day is not, your grade level is not back yet, then you Zoom in until your grade level is back. Let's talk a little bit more about the synchronous, asynchronous. So one more time, your cohort is assigned by your last name. So expectations of students on your synchronous or meeting day. Again, if your last name is A through K, that's Monday, Wednesday. L through Z, that's Tuesday, Thursday. You're in person attending all 6 periods on campus. If you're remote, you attend all 6 classes via Zoom. When it's your asynchronous day or that non-meeting day. So I'm going to keep using the example that I'm in cohort A. Monday, I'm in my class, whether it's in person or Zoom, but now it's Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm in person, but I do not meet with my class. I'm not in person. I do not Zoom in. It's asynchronous. I go to Canvas to access what it is I'm supposed to do. If I'm remote, it's the same thing. I go to Canvas to access the work that I'm supposed to do. I join my classes back up on Wednesday. I'm back on my asynchronous Canvas day Thursday, and then I join everybody on Friday and Zoom in. So in terms of minutes wise, it's very similar to what you're doing now in terms of minutes in your class. The difference will be if you're in person, those minutes are going to feel different because you're in front of your teacher and with your classmates. But it's still about the same amount of class time as we're doing now. So hopefully that starts to really get clear in your mind. Okay, so how often and what does that look like if it's not my day? But wanted to just start really explaining this. This is the last slide, and we'll just open it up to questions. That is the link to our safety plan. Take a picture of it, write it down, and it is fluid. It'll change as it's updated or as we learn new things. But we're really proud of, and this is the work of a lot of people putting this together to ensure the safety. And this is, and I say this I'm not trying to be sarcastic, and maybe it sounds like I'm trying to be funny, and I am, but I'm also very serious. The reason and I'm going to speak for me as the principal and the whole admin team, I take this safety plan extremely serious because number one, I don't want any of our students, families, or staff to get sick. But here's another thing. I think most people know that I'm really, really proud of my family and my two boys. I'm not going to do anything that puts me in jeopardy either, because I want their boys to have a healthy dad, and I want to have healthy boys and a healthy wife. I mean, I'm not trying to exclude her. I'm looking for smiles out there. I want our whole family to be healthy. So there's very good reasons that we want a very good safety plan. Mr. Peters, Miss Elliott, Miss Applegate, Mr. Higgins, everybody on here, everybody wants to stay healthy. So that's why we take all of this very seriously. Arriving to school. I know you're getting tired of hearing my voice. We want to get to your questions. This is a big deal. When you arrive to school, first of all, the doors will not open until 7 o'clock, unless you have 0 period jazz. That'll start at your normal time. We'll talk about that separately with those students. Everybody else, the doors will not open until 7 o'clock. When they do open, there's a specific door you will go to depending on your grade. And we'll show you a map, and we'll walk through this in the video. The safety plan has a map of the school. But for freshmen, the door you will enter is the door in front of the school in the bus loop near the main office. All freshmen will enter that door. Sophomores and juniors will enter the door. We call it now the Grizzly door, but it's the door entering the main gym. The seniors will all enter the door down the north end of the building near the tennis courts. The reason for that is we have to make sure every student that comes in has completed the attestation form. We're going to give you a lot more information on that in the coming days, but that is where you will, on your smartphone, maybe on your computer, have the opportunity to answer the screening questions around you have a fever, if you had a cough, if you had sore throat, all those things. We need every student to complete that. Once you complete that electronically, for example, if you have a smartphone, I'm going to rush through this because we're going to hit this really hard in the video to come out Monday. But on your phone, it'll show up with this green circle and this white check mark that says you've been cleared and you're allowed to go to campus. But we will also get that information here at school. We need people to go to their grade level door because we're going to check to make sure every student has completed that attestation. There's going to be 2 staff members at every door that will check your name to make sure you've done that. If you forgot, you could do it through a QR code that'll be right here at school. That's another option. Mr. Peters is showing you right now what that will look like when you complete it. How long does it take? I timed myself this morning from start to finish. It took 4.5 seconds. So this is a very, very short period of time that this takes. If you do not complete it and we don't have record of you doing this, you're not going to be allowed in that door. You're going to have to go around to the front of the school. So seniors, think about this. If you're down by the tennis courts, you're going to have to walk around the outside of the school up to the main entrance. There's the form there. Mr. Peters is showing you what that looks like if you have not done it, where you have to meet with our school nurse and she will physically ask you all of those questions and screen you in or out. So that could be really inconvenient and really cold depending on the weather. You don't want to forget to complete the attestation. It's step 1. We need to make sure everybody's feeling good when you come into school. Once you come in your grade level door, if it's between 7 and 7:15, this is a big change. You're not allowed to just walk the halls and hang out in the stairwells or the library. We've got to keep tight on the safety plan. We have to minimize contact areas and close contacts. If you're at school between 7 and 15, you will be in one of those seats in the cafeteria, just like lunch. And this is where it sounds cold, but you have to stay there. You have to stay in that seat until 7:15. At 7:15, an administrator will dismiss the commons to first period. So at that point, everybody in the commons and everybody arriving to school after 7:15 will report directly to first period. So at 7:15, you're going to have 4 administrators and probably Miss Elliott, because she's an administrative intern, and Darlene Gibson. You're going to have people wandering the halls talk about how glad we are to see you, and it's hope you're doing great. But in that same conversation, let's get moving. It's time to get to class, because we can't allow people to just hang out and socialize. We have to keep moving, stay 6 feet apart in our masks, and get to class. So I hope what you heard in there is if you arrive to school prior to 7:15, the doors will open at 7. You go through your grade level door. Once you're in, if it's before 7:15, you have to remain in the commons in one of the chairs. At 7:15, you're dismissed to go directly to first period. Seniors, watch where you're parking, because you remember you're coming through those tennis courts doors. Underclassmen, watch where you're parking, because you might want to minimize how far you're having to go to get to your door entry. But then again, you go straight to first period. So that's arriving to school. It's different than what we'd remember before COVID. There's the grade level doors open at 7. The classrooms open at 7:15. Every student on campus has to complete the attestation is when you do it before school. The screening is if you forgot, and we have to do it manually with our school nurse. Passing periods are still 5 minutes. We're asking you to follow the signage. Naturally, we do this for the most part. We stay to the right, just like you're driving a car. So in the hallways, we're staying to the right so that we're not just this mixing of people in the hallways. Up the stairwells, we have signage and arrows. We're going up and down the right side of the stairwells, again, to minimize the close contacts and interactions. The very best that we can through passing periods with social distancing. We're not in those real tight groups. Of course, it's okay to say hi to your friends and teachers, but we've got to keep it brief. Department of Health is telling us that a close contact is spending more than 15 minutes in a 24-hour period closer than 6 feet with somebody. So that's why we're not too, I don't want to say not worried about passing period, but we're allowing people to walk the halls to your next class in passing period, because when you pass by somebody, even if that's within a couple feet, that's not a close contact. A close contact is within 6 feet for 15 minutes in a 24-hour amount of time. So passing period. We've talked about lunch. Remember, it's those assigned seats 7 feet apart in a chair. Egg lunch are available free to any student every day that wants it. And it's about staying in your seats during lunch. Can you use the bathrooms again? Of course you can. We're going to monitor the bathrooms because there's a limited capacity. And again, that's just maintaining the distancing, no different than if you go to many businesses. It's been like this for months. We have sinks and urinals and stalls blocked off where to force that distancing. That's just common sense. The mask, maybe that may or may not be a big issue. I don't know. It doesn't matter your opinion on them. It's just a condition of being in school. Not much different than most businesses, but it's properly worn. We are requiring all staff, all students on campus that your mask has to be on, covering your mouth and nose, including the parking lot. So when you're parked and as you're walking into the building, I hope you're hearing how seriously the safety plan is to guarantee as much as we can the safety of our students and staff, but masks are required. Of course, when you're eating lunch, they're not. That is different, just like a restaurant right now. But it's just non-negotiable. That's why I don't want to get into the weeds. People could talk about the different types and their belief in them or not. It just doesn't matter. It's a condition of being here at school that we properly wear them over the nose and mouth. Could you wear a face shield instead of the mask? No, not without medical documentation. There's a process for that. It's really that simple. Other schools that have opened, we found this has not been an issue. People are excited to be at school. They want to be at school. They want to be safe. They wear the masks. That's what we expect will happen here as well. It's a condition of being at school. It's that simple.
Mr. Larson,
Yes,
there's a
ma'am.
couple questions about masks. Is there specific criteria for masks, like the gaiters? You spoke about the face shield, but gaiters or cloth?
Yeah, this time, no, the gators are okay. I just asked that yesterday, and if I'm wrong on that, somebody tell me, but I asked that yesterday, and at this point, they're still being allowed. Holly, are you hearing anything different than that?
No, that sounds right.
Continue to double check on that, but I do believe it. As long as that covering is, we're not forcing it, the N95, the different surgical masks, it's just a face covering the nose.
Kids are asking about some of the consequences for people not following the safety guidelines.
Yeah, that's a big one. And that should be a concern for everybody. And I'm going to, first of all, be real optimistic. I trust our relationship with each other, with our students, with our teachers, that we care enough about ourselves and each other that we're going to take care of each other. We've talked about family. We're going to take care of our family by doing our part. So I have a lot of faith and optimism that people are going to do that. If not, we're going to remind you. And it very well been, hey, Mr. Larson, I'm sorry, I'll get that mask right back up. Things happen, there's a mistake, there's a slip, but we're going to be on that pretty quick. Now let's go to reality. If it's somebody that's just being defiant, that's just not following the plan, it's going to get pretty serious. We're going to meet with you and the parents and find out what's getting in the way. Is this going to work out? Maybe this in person isn't the best choice. What you're hearing is there's no leeway on that one. The way we're going to handle it the way we always handle it. That's with respect, but that's also with being direct and honesty. We're going to ask you to fix it. Trust that you do. And if people are not, we're going to bring the family in, explain what's going on. If we can solve it, we'll solve it. If not, we're going to look at other ways to make sure you get your education. So I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to say this in a way that I think we can work it out, whatever is in our way. But if not, we're not going to compromise anybody in our family. And
There's another question, lots of questions about buses.
yeah.
Are buses going to be available and what will buses look like?
Does anybody want to take that one? Because that hasn't been our focus. We're waiting. Does anybody have more details they want to share on buses?
Transportation is still trying to determine who needs to be bused to school, but transportation will be available for kids who need it. In terms of safety on buses will be practicing social distancing and masks will be required on buses.
Remember, one more reminder, this video, and we're excited about it, will be published on Monday, that'll walk through a lot of this. Again, we have our parent town hall tomorrow to talk about a lot of this. Wanted to give you one more picture. We just love our view from up here, but I'm going to stop the share for those that are still with us. Let's talk any questions, answer any questions or as many as we can to hear what's on your mind.
Jeff, can you speak to clubs? There's some questions about clubs. Can they meet during Safety Week, which is that March 22nd through 26th week? Will they still be meeting in the afternoon? And will clubs be meeting in person after the 29th of March?
Yeah, let Mr. Peters answer that. He's taken the lead on working with advisors on safety plans. So this is in his wheelhouse. Mr. Peters, do you want to talk to that one?
Yeah, thanks. The clubs can meet. It's up to the advisor. And what happens with each club is they complete a safety plan. For example, if a club is meeting, once we come back to school, if a club is meeting on a day that it's not your day to be at school, it's asynchronous, then the club safety plan will still have directions for you, a student who didn't attend that day, how you enter school. So it will be, that information will come through your advisor, through your club advisor, in the same way that that sport activities are coming through the coaches. While we're reading through our, let's see if I can get this picture to roll for you. This is just a map of the different entrances. You see on the one side is where the seniors are coming through, and then sophomores and juniors in that middle entry where you would go to get to the gym. And then you see on the other side there, you have freshman entrance, as well as people who did not do the health check, who did not do the attestation. Little visual there. There are a lot of questions here, so we're reading them and considering them kind of in groups. So if we don't specifically articulate your question, it's because we've, for the sake of time and interest, kind of put it together in a common group.
Kids are asking if they can eat lunch in their car or if they can eat lunch outside. And I think you mentioned lunch outside. I'm not sure if you said anything about cars.
Yeah, good question. Lunch outside, yes, but lunch in cars, just like normal pre-COVID, we can't allow students to be in their car during lunch. And that's safety reasons, and we just need to be able to supervise students.
There was a question about exiting. I just reiterated entering, but exiting, you'll exit out the nearest door with your regards to your sixth period class. Just heading out of the building as soon as you could.
As everyone's kind of looking through these questions for the students, if you have questions or you sense your class has questions, ask your teacher if they'd be interested in inviting me or any administrator to the class to Zoom in. We love speaking to classes as well about all of this. So that invite is out there. If ask any teacher, I'll use Mr. Blair as an example. Hey, Mr. Blair, can you invite Mr. Larson or Mr. Higginbotham, administrator, in so we can just talk about, ask them questions? I think most teachers would jump all over that. We would love nothing more than to do that. Again, I think we had around 400 at the top participants on here. That means we have about 1,300 students that are not hearing this. We need to get as much information out as possible. So whatever it takes to get in communication, get in contact with students, we'll do. And if that helps by going into classes, ask your teacher to invite us and we're there. I saw one question, I glanced real quick. Will High Five Fridays be replaced with High Air Fridays? Absolutely. From 6 feet.
Somebody's asking.
Sorry, Lance. Questions about Canvas and if teachers are going to still be using Canvas.
Yeah, great question. That's a strong yes. Canvas is very much part of what we're doing and will continue to do, whether you're in person or remote. For both, we'll be very active and involved with Canvas.
What would you say to students who have picked up some jobs, part-time jobs during the school day? And what would be your answer to them?
Everyone chime in on this, and this is a hard one because I love to hear when students are working. I think it's great. However, school is your job as well. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do in their private life, but I will say you have a very short amount of time where you get to be a high school student. And I hope that you take advantage of every minute you can to be a high school student and part of GP. Can you talk to your employer about adjusting those hours? But bottom line is you still need to acquire credits to graduate. Well, I can't tell you what to do. Don't put yourself in a position where now graduation is a question and that causes other stresses and anxiety. So I understand, I really do. But we do need you to come to school.
We've got a close contact related question. And the question really is, if you're in contact with somebody who tested positive, do you need to be quarantined as well? There are a lot of nuances to this that make it specific or not. But if you're not within contact of somebody any closer than 6 feet, then you are not needing to quarantine. And that's part of why we're setting up the classrooms and lunchrooms the way we are. As Mr. Larson already said earlier, there's also this direction from the health department about whether it's 15 minutes or more within a 6-foot distance of somebody. So you can be within 6 feet as long as it isn't for greater than 15 minutes. So hoping that answered that question okay for you.
Thanks, Lance. And in addition to that, it's really important that people know that we don't determine close contacts. The Department of Health handles that, and they talk to the families. We're not the medical experts. We're not the COVID experts. So who officially determines close contacts and what to do as a result of that, comes from the Department of Health.
Do we have an answer about the official end time for school on Friday?
I'm going to look at Miss Elliott. She's done a great job putting schedules together. I want to say around 9:55. Am I close?
Correct.
Kids, in terms of scheduling, kids are also asking when in the day we're going to have our virtual office hours.
At 3:15 today, we have a department chair meeting, and we have some schedules proposed, and we're going to share that with our department chairs. And as a teaching staff, we'll make that decision. So we're hoping to have that out by the end of this week, so families will see it. What we do know is it'll be during the day. It will not be before first period. It will not be after sixth period. It will be within the school day.
Some questions about signing up for the guided tour opportunity on March 22nd. The link has been updated and seems to be working now, and it's on our Canvas page and our GP website.
Fantastic.
Kids are asking about the process to change from cohort A or to cohort B.
So you would request that with your counselor, and then we'll look at that just as we would a schedule change. We're probably going to create a form that will ask you to articulate why this has to happen. And then we'll look at that if it's because somebody just wants to. And again, the theme has been to be honest and direct here. If it's because you want to, it won't happen. If it's because it needs to for very specific reasons, then we're going to try to make that happen. So you can hear my voice. I don't like saying that, but again, we have to maintain continuity and organization. So we don't, we can't have too many people at the school at one time.
If I could add, we're also considering how many people are in the classroom at one time. So if you being in there means that there isn't an extra desk, then that's going to be a no.
Mr. Larson, could you talk more about computers, charging, what students are expected to bring to class with them?
You bet. So you are expected, if you're in person, to bring your charged laptop every day. That's your school computer. At this point, you can bring your own device if you're comfortable with that. Always keep in mind safety. I worry about damages happening or things getting lost. So, protect what you have. But the expectation is you do bring them on campus, because remember, when you go to your in-person class, there's also going to be students in that class who are Zooming in. So the teacher's going to be teaching to you in person while also doing really similar to what you're seeing now. They're going to be teaching to both groups. So many times, while you'll be in that class live, you will be on your computer, maybe in a breakout group with people who are online, maybe working on a document off of Canvas. So it's really important that you do bring that computer and it's charged. We do know that charge doesn't last as long as it should. So we will have power strips and extension cords in every classroom so that you can charge those computers if necessary as well. But what I would say every day, bring some bottled water, because remember, the water fountains are disabled, but the fill of the bottle filling stations are okay. But bring something to drink. It's okay to have that water, and bring that computer charged every day. Bring your power cord every day so you can plug it in. You may not need it for every class, but be prepared to use it every class.
So Mr. Larson, it's 1:30. It's just the time people were expecting this to end. Do you want to continue? I have 143 questions still. Would you like me to continue sharing questions with you?
Let's do another 10 minutes of questions. And then we'll get ready for the next Zoom. While we're doing that, we have a lot of people on here. Be thinking about how we can capture those and give people the avenue to ask those, do we offer more of these? We incorporate tomorrow night. I'm trying to think on the fly because these questions deserve to be answered, and we've got to figure out a way to get to them.
Couple questions about how it's going to work for a teacher to be supporting students both in person in their classrooms while managing students on their Zoom. So kids who will be in person will be in their class, and the teacher will be working with you plus managing students on Zoom. So if you are Zooming in and it's your cohort day, you're there with the teacher listening to what's happening and participating in the class virtually.
Mm-hmm. Did they want to hear more of what that will look like?
A couple questions about what that will look like in the classroom.
Miss Elliott, you are teaching and you're doing this admin thing. I think you could speak more accurately to that because you're doing that. We also, just so students know, we have a number of teachers practicing that right now so that we can be prepared to help teachers be effective at it. But Miss Elliott, what have you learned?
I believe that there will be an opportunity for students to be on the Zoom camera and your teacher will be talking to you if you are remoting in, if you're Zooming in. We're going to talk to you, and we're also going to talk to the kids out in my classroom. If you're Zooming in, you'll be able to see what your teacher is doing just like you normally are currently. And if you are in person, you'll be able to see the classroom and see the whiteboard and talk to your teacher right in front of you. I hope that answers your question. I've been busy answering the other questions, so I didn't hear the whole thing.
I'm typing away too. So I mean, we're trying to answer everybody. What about locker rooms or PE classes?
Yeah, these are all great questions. So for PE classes, we will not change into PE clothes. We may use the locker rooms to store your bag because every student that comes on the campus, remember, we just asked you to bring a water bottle and your computer. And you may even have books in a backpack. We want you to have a place where we can secure those. So we may use the locker rooms. We have 4 locker rooms. We have 2 PE locker rooms, boys and girls, but we also have 2, what we call the athletic locker rooms on the back side, boys and girls. So we have 4 areas where boys and girls to their side could come in and drop off their bag and even plug in their computer to charge it. Exit the locker room so there's no close contacts there, and we can secure the locker room by locking it. So that's how we would use it. We're not using it to change into PE clothes, but we would use it to keep your materials and your computer there, charge it if necessary, and lock it so that it's secure.
Question from somebody in Link Crew, whether we'll need Link Crew students to help during our self-guided tour. Appreciate the offer. Right now, we're not going to call on Link Crew. If that changes, we'll ask the Link Crew advisors to get a hold of you. Thank you for your willingness.
I'm looking at a lot of questions that could be answered in our safety plan. I encourage everybody on here to go to our safety plan and see our policy around masks, transition time during hallways, procedures for cleaning are also listed in there. More information about lunches and expectations for lunches, what restrooms will look like. I think that would answer a lot of the questions that people have.
There's the link to that safety plan. Take a picture of it, write it down. A lot of information there.
In terms of technology, students who might not have requested a computer back in August or September when we started will have an opportunity to secure a school laptop. We don't have the exact date for when we're going to have that opportunity, but we will definitely communicate when that is going to be, as soon as we find out. There are some questions specific for Snow Isle students. I would encourage you to reach out to Ms. Winkler with questions you have about Snow Isle. We are still in the process to determine what cohorts and schedules Snow Isle will have and how best to support you. When students are concerned if there's not enough space in the classes, once we get the survey results, which should be early next week, the survey should be going out today. Once we get the survey results, we have already reviewed all of the numbers of classes for every single class, and we are prepared with some decisions that we may have to make in order to make room for every single student in class, but it will be on a class by class basis. One student's asking what we think is the best option they should pick. You need to pick the option that is best for you.
Great.
We all have different circumstances and situations in our lives, but that is a choice for you and your family to make together, and we are here to support either one.
Remember, guys, and I know we're short on time. We're doing this with parents for an hour and a half or 2 hours tomorrow night. Please encourage your parents to log on and hear this again, to ask questions that maybe we haven't gotten to yet. I think the video will be very helpful as well. We're recording that tomorrow and Friday. That'll be available on Monday. And we'll continue to think about ways to get in front of you. It'd be nice to be able to answer questions live so you don't have to type it in. Let us keep brainstorming. And I'm going to ask for the students' help as well. There's a lot of we have a lot of smart students. If you all would prefer, a live Zoom, we'd be happy to join you after school sometime after 12:30. And if there's a large group that says, hey, we have more questions we want to talk about, can we do it with you? Absolutely. Just email us and let us know. Our goal is to share all the information we have and answer every question out there. So if you have ideas too, you say, hey, could you guys do this so we could get questions answered? Yes, just ask us. This is a huge lift. There's a lot of people and a lot of information to share. So we'll do whatever it takes.
Mr. Larson, there are lots of our seniors asking questions about senior specific items in the chat. I wonder if we can create an opportunity for just our senior class to receive information about last day for seniors, graduation, and other activities that are senior specific.
Absolutely. We'll work with Mr. Blair on that. We'll do a specific senior class meeting. We'll talk senior activities. Guys, we have the same questions you do around senior activities and prom and graduation and all of that. We all share the same interests. So let us get some more answers to questions, knowing that some things are still going to change in the next couple months. Know that that's on our mind as much as it is on yours. It may be hard to believe, but it's a fact. What really drove us in our motivation to get this safety plan done and to do our part was to give our seniors the chance to have somewhat whatever we could of a senior year. That's not to say freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, we weren't worried about you. We absolutely are. But we know time is of the essence for seniors and every day matters. So whatever experience we can offer, we're going to do. So we'll get with Mr. Blair. We'll get all the information we have. And I think what we do is have a senior class meeting and we talk seniors. Mr. Higgins, anything that we should have said, maybe didn't, before we log off of here?
No, I think that we're hitting the high points. There's a lot of repetitive questions about what a day will look like, or if they have a cough or something like that. It would be the same as normal. You would stay home on your day that you should be here and just call in sick and get on remote to your class. But other than that, I think we're hitting most of the highlights.
Celia?
There are 146 questions that were answered and still 161 questions that we are furiously typing. So I didn't really listen to anything you had to say. So I was busy typing. I'm really sorry about that.
No,
I don't have anything else to say.
Thank you for answering those questions. Ms. Applegate?
No, but I see a lot of excitement in this chat, and kids want to know all sorts of things, and we will answer every single one of these questions over the next couple of weeks. I guarantee it.
Mr. Peters?
If you're on the fence about not coming or coming, we want you to come. So totally respecting the rest of the picture that you have going, But I say, if you're on the fence, we'd love to see you.
Safety is our priority, guys. That means you are our priority. We'll continue to think about ways to get this information. We know there's a couple weeks still, but we're going to be organized and prepared to give you the best experience we can, whether you're here or you continue to be remote. There's no wrong answer. Do what's best for you. Thanks for not quitting and for hanging in there. It has not been easy. We know that. There's just nothing more to say. It has not been easy. Keep the faith. We're getting there. We're getting there. So thanks for being here. We'll continue to look for ways to connect. Join us again tomorrow night. Look for the video. Ask your teachers to invite us into a Zoom. Ask us if you want to just Zoom with us. But guys, we miss you. We want to talk with you. So let us work with you on this. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy some sunshine. And I hope this was helpful. And we will talk soon.